well as a very quick response time that comes with text messaging. So that's what we try to do in terms of your SMS, as you're trying to make sure that you're utilizing the tool in the best way possible. And that's what I'm going to be talking about today in terms of that. Today's presentation is brought to you by SCORE. So I want you to be really aware of the fact that SCORE is a wonderful organization that provides you with services at no charge. My name is Liz Harsh, and I'm with TaylorMade Advertising, and we are a for-profit business just like you. And there are nonprofits on the call today, so you know the difference, right? But when you work with SCORE, you get an advisor who's worked at a large organization, has lots of contacts, and they also have grants and financing to help you grow. So by sitting down with a SCORE mentor, you're going to learn a lot about how to grow your business, as well as be able to be connected with experts in just about every field of operation when it comes to running your business. So while we'll be talking about marketing today, your SCORE mentor will go much further in terms of basically helping you plan growing your business in a responsible way that it will grow and you'll get more, and be able to grow your business faster and stronger with that mentorship helping you out. My name is Liz Harsh, and I'll be teaching the class today with TaylorMade Advertising in Torrance, California. Notice that I make it really easy to figure out how to connect with me in any way that you want to, because today the buyer is in charge, and you want to make it simple for them to be able to connect with your organization, take advantage of your services, or if you're a nonprofit, volunteer and donate. And those are things that we want to make crystal clear and very easy for people because they don't have a lot of time. And so utilize the same things when you have it possible, whether it's a phone number, a snail mail address. It helps you overcome the hurdle to a sale or a commitment, which is usually the hurdle of trust. And so the more ways that you make it easy for people to connect with you, the more they feel like once they do business with you, you're still going to be around. They learn more about your others' products and services, which is part of the job, is making sure that people are aware of what you're selling today versus maybe what you were doing 5 years ago. So our past customers are our best investment when it comes to marketing. So I'm always going to be talking about that. They're your gold bars, and you want to protect them and make sure they're not poached. So today we're talking again about SMS texting as a marketing tool. And when you look at what people are using in terms of businesses and how people want to hear from people, there's a growth in terms of mobile messaging that's taking place now. Most people look at their mobile messaging a lot more often than they look at their emails. Some folks don't even look at their emails. It just depends on what you're doing. But from a marketing standpoint, what we want to think about is those tools where we can reach out and talk to people using our first party data. And that's the data that means I have a way of reaching out to you. So getting that subscription-based short message service allows you to do that. So then you have the opportunity to reach out to people on a regular basis, not taking advantage too much of overuse, definitely making sure that you're doing it within reason. But you can see that those top ways of communicating, mobile, email, social, your website basically, and your digital ads, those are pretty much on top. And so you want to think about how you're integrating that into your marketing platform. Also looking at those messaging volumes as they're growing, because people are getting more used to getting their information from that text messaging. So you want to think about, again, once you have that permission-based text marketing that you can do with your customers, making sure that you're doing it in a way where more and more people want to keep on that list versus get off of that list. So not overusing it, but using it strategically so it's reinforcing your marketing message in the way that it works best. So we're going to talk a little bit about how that works in terms of what works for frequency, as well as some tips on how you can work with it effectively so that you, again, get more subscribers, and the subscribers you have will want to continue to stay on your list. So I know as it is a political season, we're all getting requests for money, and we find ourselves jumping onto lists that we're not wanting to be on, or maybe you did a donation and then you get a ton of text messages. that's something you want to avoid because you want to make sure you are not that irritating individual that is overusing the text messaging. So that's something that we want to talk about. So how quickly do you open it? Do you get that information or open a text message? It's a lot quicker than pretty much any other option that you have, except for perhaps digital marketing, which happens to come up and pop up while you're actually doing something. But lots of times, whatever it was you were doing is going to be distracting from that. So you'll continue to do what you were doing and then maybe click on the ads that make sense for you. However, when it comes to text messaging, when you get a text, you look at least to see if it's someone you want to talk to or someone that has an important message for you. So it does have that great immediacy, and that's one of the benefits of text message marketing. In addition to that, there's lots of benefits to that, in terms of instant engagement, again, because they open it quickly. Up to 90% of text messages are read in just 3 minutes of delivery. So that's quick. Like if you send out emails or you connect with people and do some kind of support system, even with chatbots, sometimes it takes them a while because they're reading whatever it was they were doing. So it's very quick it also has a very high return on your investment where dollars for dollars, it's one of the least expensive things you can do. Again, very careful with managing those lists and making sure that you're not overusing it because otherwise you lose that benefit of ROI. But if you do it correctly, you get a great ROI for people in terms of what you're achieving with your text messaging campaigns. And it also bypasses, so you own the data. I'm going to be talking a bit about first party data because that's so important now. These days, with the search engine optimization being a little more challenging due to summaries that are happening, um, that you want to make sure that you have that way of reaching out to your contacts and your customers, and that they get or they are the first people to know about anything you're offering special or anything you're doing differently. So that owned data definitely lets you bypass those social media algorithms and gives you that direct line of communication. So this year in particular, we're seeing a lot of emphasis on making sure that you have a reason to have that first party data. If you haven't set up lists, if you don't have an email marketing program going, you want to make sure that you get one going as well as the SMS text marketing programs because that will help you in terms of having that first party data as third party data is getting more regulated. When you have the data and you've got permission, it works a lot better to your interest. And also, people that receive things are not surprised or anything because they've signed up. So, the ultimate marketing goal is to send the right message to the right people at the right time and now using the right channels. So, I'm not, you want to drive that action to the time of the day that you get that message, the place that you do it, the message being more urgent in some medium and less urgent in others. That's what we want to do when it comes to balancing out how our marketing campaigns are going to be delivered. So as you look at that, you're looking at how much of the world's population owns a smartphone, and that number has only been growing exponentially since 2023. And that smartphone dependency that we have, let's face it, if you drove out the door and drove for an hour and you forgot your phone, you're probably going to go back and get it because it's so imperative to what we do. So consumers are more likely to be influenced to buy something via email marketing, text messaging, and now social media with all the ad campaigns that are going with it. So when you combine these for media mixing, they really are going to be your strongest marketing tool for a small business in terms of return on your investment. So looking at all of those statistics. When we talk about marketing, word of mouth, I've never met a business owner who doesn't say, I just want more word of mouth clients because those people have basically been referred. That's how it feels. They've been referred, someone recommended them. So as people and consumers get more careful about their selections, particularly when they're looking at their dollars and how much it'll buy for them. They're going to do more research. They're going to look a little deeper, dive a little deeper. And it's important that they hear from you so that you're part of that conversation. And that's where our campaigns are going to be the best. So it starts with providing a wow experience, like really impressing people at your showroom or on your website or through your organization. And then you want to entice them to follow you, to get information from you. And we want to put a big emphasis this year on engagement. So what it is they're doing once they get that information. So using short message service is going to benefit you in terms of that. As you do that, you also want to drive that social visibility. Part of your campaign is going to be connecting with people socially and getting them to talk about your organization socially so that you're being referred basically to their friends and family. And then increasing that exposure in any way you can through text messaging, through email marketing, through digital ads to connect with those new prospects so that you can outreach not only those people whose contacts you have, but actually profiling other people like them so that you can buy digital ads that will expose you to other people that are in the same phase of life that are basically similar to what we call your target market. Those individuals that if I could introduce them to you, you would literally pay me for because you know who is more likely to be the person that's going to select your product or service over the competition. So once you've profiled and identified the type of buyer that you have, you can enhance your exposure to those individuals using these tools integrated with each other so that they're getting more exposure overall. And also, you're being introduced to their friends, family, and people that are like them, which we call birds of a feather marketing, basically. Similar individuals looking for the same type of quality products and services. You want to use each channel to tell a different story and to drive that next engagement. So again, we're looking for that engagement being the mile marker for how successful your campaigns are. So it might be going from a news or an email to social media posts that are about something you're doing, and then getting those SMS text messages in a timely manner. Usually you want to have some urgency and you have to use an economies of words because you're very limited in what you can do. With text messaging, using an SMS service, there's always an unsubscribe button or a stop button, and that will stop people immediately. That'll take them off their list, and you're not sitting around looking for that information. It's automated with your subscription service. So when you have a subscription for SMS text marketing, then you're able to have it self-maintain in terms of that. It also can integrate with your email marketing list if you have tied those together or integrated them, which is a great, double hit in terms of reaching those individuals. Because I always say you want to reach them 13 to 26 times in 6 to 8 weeks. So utilizing this medium mixing really helps you get there. With text marketing, we want to think about timeliness because lots of times when we look at our phones to see who's texting us, we look at it immediately and say, do I need to get back to them? Do I need to take an action right now? Is this urgent and important? So your messages are going to be a little bit different because it needs to reach that criteria of being important enough that you texted me. So we don't want to be just texting basic information. You want to let them know why it's important today and to handle it. So those are the kinds of messages that I want you to think about. With text marketing, it starts with permission, just like with email marketing. So you want to ensure that they opt in. You want to confirm their participation, include any disclaimers. So with SMS text messaging, if you set up with a subscription service, you do have to have a terms of service on your website. You also have to have a privacy policy, and you want to set expectations about how often they're going to hear from you or what they're going to do. And that's on you as a business in order to keep those rules. When you have that, you also get a text to join digital account so that you can tell them, hey, like in this case where Paul McCartney's at a concert, he's got up on the screen, text me at this number. And when people do that, they get an autoresponder that says, "Hi, it's Paul. You're probably texting, you're texting me. It probably means you saw my phone number at the show." This can work for you. It doesn't have to work just for Paul McCartney. So thinking about how you can get that message out there, whether that's through QR codes or it's through having signage on your showroom at night or in your window or on your cars, by getting that message out there, people can join and get information from you. Obviously, they need to be incentivized that there's a benefit to adding themselves to your community. And this is what you sell it on in terms of that first outreach, is getting that phone number and getting people to text you there. And then they have the opportunity to add themselves. Um, Also, it'll say, then you'll get information. There's always a disclaimer like this one: save me to your phone number as well, so that they'll get past the screening or the filter. And one more thing to note: message frequency will vary. Certain requirements are going to automatically be tagged on the end of your message. In this case, message frequency will vary. Message and data rates may apply. Reply helps. So these are required elements when you're doing something like that. But what that does is adds them to a specific list of concert goers, and then they get a drip campaign through text marketing as well as email marketing, if they're open to that. So that will be part of the messages that will go out. When you send your text messages, you want to give people that ability to opt out, being mindful of the send time, because obviously if you have people all over the country or in multiple countries, you don't want to be texting them in the middle of the night. So there are certain rules that the subscription-based companies do, and they will basically tell you we're not going to send after or before certain hours so that you'll be successful. And you'd want to stagger that for people in other countries based on where their location is. So based on their phone number, you can sometimes garner some information, but not always. So it's important to make sure your list notes that. And then you don't want to rely on those area codes, because a lot of folks move from one state to the other and they do not change their number anymore. So you don't actually know what time it is with that person unless you know where they're located. So having a zip code or something like that is beneficial to that sign up. Also providing a great experience, because it starts with the experience they have on your website or your showroom. But then also, when they get messages from you, the number one reason that people will pay attention to it is, first, do they recognize you? So you want to identify yourself. And also, is this timely? Is it important? Is it relevant to me today? That's something you need to think about before you write the message or as you write the message. Also, being consistent. So if I only get a text message from you once, and then 2 months later I haven't heard from you at all, and then you pop up, I will probably not remember who you are or what you've done if all I've done is visited a showroom or something. So you want to make sure that there's consistency in your text messaging. Is it once a week? Is it once a month? Is it once a year? What is it? Once a year is not going to work out. So obviously, but not daily, not weekly, unless you're like an auction site. And I really want to hear from you that way. It has to be something relevant. You want to be consistent with your frequency as well as concise, keeping it short and sweet, 160 characters, including the space, and don't forget the disclaimers. Some ways of doing that is by adding some type of a link. So you can do some sort of a short bit.ly or a link, in this case, a constant contact shortener, so that if they did a newsletter, let's say, you can grab the link that it's created from the newsletter and create that and say, hey, did you see our latest offers? Make sure you see them, and then have that link to the newsletter. When they get through that link, they'll have the opportunity to sign up for your newsletter, or they'll also be reading your newsletter and hopefully subscribe to that. So that's a way of connecting these two medium together so that they're double punching, basically. Text messages should be unique so that you share content wherever it might be found, in terms of your blogs, information on your website, any way that you can come up with a new angle or something that makes it different. You want to bring value, so save me time, save me money, save me by providing something that I would have to go figure out myself. So tips and advice. It should be personal, so you have the way these messaging systems allow you to customize it so that it shows personalized information. So it might say, hey, Liz, or it might say, this is something we're doing. So that information is important. And you want to bring that value to them. So again, something that's personal and personal. Be conversational. So you have the option of setting your voice and using AI to write your messages. So once you've got a marketing plan or a communication that you have in mind, you can actually just start entering that information and AI will write something for you. And you can set that conversational tone to be informative, conversational. You want to get people to kind of engage, though. That's our goal, is get that engagement. So by having these links, it really does help with that. An example in retail, you might have something where it's talking about discounts, or let's say they had something in a cart and you're connecting your email account or your website account with something that they did with your SMS list. Then you'd be able to kind of send them a cart reminder, maybe a back in stock. So somebody tried to buy something and then they weren't able to do it because it was out of stock. You can have that create a list of people that have done that, clicked on that particular item in that cart, and then letting them know with text messaging that the item they were looking for was back in stock. That's helpful, right? Because they were trying to buy something, and now you've become a reminder service for them for something they were interested in. So that also definitely is a good text message campaign when you have them. Looking at how you tie these together, not only is Paul McCartney, advertising that he's got the ability for an SMS text way you can connect with him, but he's also providing social media information that lets people know that they can go and get information about a set list or whatever, incentivizing them to sign up for his text messaging. Having, something about his newsletter as a newsletter option that they have, and then tying the newsletter back to, hey, don't forget to sign up to get my information about my next concerts or where I'm going to play next. And then the text messaging, of course, just letting them know that they've got the ability to do something within that. So having these three together means that you're reaching people three times utilizing these three things. And again, you're trying to get to a much more high frequency of people being able to learn more about your company. Because we have to overcome that hurdle of trust. So 6 to 13 times in to 6 to 26 times in 6 to 8 weeks really gives people that information, but not through one medium. You want to do text, email, social, digital ads to achieve that so that they get familiar with you. As you look also about different examples, you might have different lists that you're utilizing for your text messaging campaigns. So as you have those different lists, it might go out for people that are looking for first-time buyers or people that are looking for big homes or maybe homes with office in them. And those would be different lists that would be getting different messages, the ones that would make most sense for them. But this can all be automated by tying it in with your contact management system that's part of your campaigns through your email and SMS texting at the same time. You can also bring your digital ad list, people that have connected up with you through that, into there to have different information, perhaps that, they're just being exposed to you originally or once when they clicked on your ad, and now you have a drip campaign that's going out to them through SMS and email that's giving them more bits of information that helps them to consider your company or buy your company, buy the products or services they were interested in. In addition, you want to make sure that you have a list of past customers where you're not saying, oh, hey, we want you to get to know us, because they already know you, right? So you'd want the past customers to be a separate list so that you've got that information and something unique to send them. Business to business, you might look at events, you might look at some type of scheduling, like if you have a call to action that allows them to actually make an appointment, let that be the link there so that you can get through that. Sometimes it's just a reminder, in this case, talking about, maybe it's plumbing or something, and they want you to know that you should schedule your annual plumbing service or maintenance of some sort. So it could be scheduling that. Or it could be about new services and something that maybe they didn't know you've done, or they haven't used a service that you have that you're trying to expose them to. So looking at that is another way to integrate. And now you've added from emails, social media, and texting, also maybe events in this case so that people can attend an event or sign up for something that you're doing. As you look at nonprofits, you've got different people that are connected with a nonprofit. One of your lists would be volunteers. Announcements would go out to everybody, but you might have a different message for volunteers versus people that are not volunteers. And also, again, highlighting these events that you're doing and giving people, hey, 6 weeks till our event, 4 weeks to our event, 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 days. That kind of reminder works very well in text messaging because, again, it's relevant, it's timely, it's something that people are interested in getting done. So it's an opportunity for them to not miss it. And those are kind of the words that you want to use. Don't miss this. We wanted you to remember that we've got this going on. Thinking about that. So when it comes to growing your SMS list, because again, it's a subscription list, you got to think about it just like with your email campaigns. What's in it for them? What are they going to benefit from? Why join your texting list if they're already on your email list? Is there some information that's going to be better for them? And maybe you have something like if you're a restaurant, maybe you're going to do just recipes or tell them about special nights or discounts you have on certain times, week to week. And so that's why they'd want to be on your weekly text because they're going to get your different specials every week or, on a frequent basis that would benefit them so they know what you're doing. So thinking about that, setting those clear expectations, you're going to be receiving this once a week on Mondays or Tuesdays. You're going to be getting this once a month, and we'll be telling you about all the events that we've got going, that type of thing, reminders. Maybe they could even sign up for different frequency based on their interests. And then you've also got to have those disclaimers for what you're doing. So by setting that up with that, you also want to motivate them from the text that you send out to a landing page or a sign up or some type of a content download. So again, you're going to give them a carrot for subscribing for your text messaging. So you want to make sure that you're giving them something that's beneficial to them. When they click on that link, that small little link that's part of the texting, then they get an opportunity to fill out a form or to download something or see your latest video. And they'd basically be able to then be on your list to get more information from you via email as well as SMS, or maybe you want to incentivize your people that get your email to sign up for your SMS texting. And so that would be one way to get more people subscribed to that. Again, moving people from the texts that they've agreed to take to more information because we're very limited on what we can say in the text, right? Also, you want to stay in compliance with the rules and regulations of text messaging, as well as trying to gain subscribers in different ways, and also setting those clearer expectations so you don't get unsubscribed. And bringing that value, that benefit to getting these messages is what you need to do in terms of thinking about it. What you do and don't want to do in terms of text messaging is you do want to ensure that they opt in. You want to confirm their participation. You want to include any disclaimers that are required by law and also setting those expectations. But you don't want to just add them to your list because they've provided you their cell phone numbers. You want to make sure that they are recognizing that by going and agreeing to do this, they're going to get multiple messages from you over time. So just because you have a customer list and some of them have given you their phone number so you could text them when their order's in, doesn't mean that they want to get text messages from you that are not related to their order. So this is where you kind of want to strategize how you're going to grow that list. You also want to make sure that you're mindful of the times that you're going to text them. You want to keep the door open for them to return. So you want to make sure that they have the opportunity to opt out and they're clear that they can opt out. Because when you can opt out of something, you won't. I mean, you might if they're irritating you or there's a lot of them. But if you see that you can always hit stop, then sometimes you will, sometimes you won't. So making sure that you're very clear that people can get off that list anytime they want to usually makes them feel more safe and protected from not having to get off the list if they're still interested in what you're talking about. So again, don't rely on those area codes for send times because again, that's not going to give you a fair picture because people don't always live there in that area code. So it's also very important with all marketing tools, and I know I emphasize this with most of my presentations to you folks, is you want to pay attention to, is your list growing? Also, is your customer list growing? What kinds of clicks are you getting, or are people responding by clicking on those landing pages that you've connected up with? And how did that landing page perform? It's not always easy to connect a sale to a particular action, but that's also why I'm telling you it requires a media mix where you're mixing actions and therefore people are seeing the information multiple times so they can recall it and so they can take an action on, let's say, the third or fourth time they see it. So looking at that, the clicks, and also looking at the conversions. These SMS marketing subscription services, like Constant Contact has or other providers, allow you to connect the dots so that you can see if those folks actually buy something from you or sign up or donate. And so, with that being the case, you want to look at those statistics and see, are we getting a return on our investment? Are those people actually taking action we want? Did they respond to this and click on the link? And all of those stats are being collected on the back end. And that's one reason to have a subscription service is you're going to get a lot of data information, and those folks will be automatically added to your email campaigns if they've chosen to do so, and if they taken an action like clicked on a particular item of some sort, you can collect that data, have that automatically collected in the background by segmenting that market with a tag or a separate list. So when you're trying to grow your list of people that have subscribed to your text marketing, you want to just ask them basically. Lots of people would be interested if they know it's not too frequent and if they know it's relevant to what they want to do. So always look at it from your customer standpoint of what they're trying to achieve, what goals they're trying to make. In terms of this in person, you could do it at checkout. You could do it when you introduce yourself to them. If you're a real estate agent, you could do it at open houses. You can do it while helping a customer, maybe someone that's purchased something before and you're helping them to get something. You could say to them, we do send out text messages when we get new deliveries in. Would you like to add yourself to that list? If you have events where you're presenting, whether that's a webinar or an in-person event, having that QR code that people can scan and sign up to get your text messaging, you will grow it over time as people see that. So maybe you work and do things at a farmer's market or a trade show, and you want to make sure that you have that information for them to easily walk by. And if you're busy with someone else, they can scan it and be added to that list. You want to also put it on print materials because print materials still work, folks. They still do. So if you have print materials, making sure that it's easy for people to click on that, to scan that little QR code and be able to get themselves added to your text messaging list. Flyers, brochures, direct mail, anything physical, signs on your building. And then online, you can do it through your website, your social media campaigns, having some of them highlight, hey, did you get our latest text on what's just walked in the door? Click here to sign up, and then they'd get that automatically as an autoresponder. Any kind of email signature, if you're trying to let people know about that, you can add your text messaging list, and also landing pages. So when you create distinct landing pages that are designed to get something done, you can also include that with that. You also want to cater your customers. So I do like to talk about customers because they really are the easiest sell you've ever got. They already know who you are. They already like your products and services. So you have credits in the bank with them. You've overcome that hurdle of trust. So one of the biggest mistakes that companies are making right now is chasing new customers instead of making sure that they're solid with the customers they've been selling to. And really, it's really reduces your costs a lot if you reduce your acquisition costs. And one of the ways to reduce acquisition costs is to make sure that you're engaging with people that already buy from you and letting them know you're still the best person to do it. So you want to think about growing your contact list. Do I give people a reason to opt in, like exclusive discounts or some type of promotion? Have I been clear about how often I'll do it? when my contacts receive a message, can they tell them automatically who it's from? Is my message right for SMS? Is it, short enough, sweet enough, and expeditious enough? And is it tailored to my customers so that it's something they respond to? Did I use reporting to see my last message did? So looking at that reporting lets you know if your text messages are popular or not so popular. And that gives you an opportunity to improve. So don't look at it as a negative, look at it as a positive so you can always improve your returns on your investment by noting if a message isn't very successful. Don't do it again. Do something different. And are you using automation to make sure customers get your information? So making sure that you've synced that up with the automation part of your text messaging service, as well as linking together your email with your text messaging so you know more about the individuals and what they're interested in. You want to ask yourself to ensure that you're on the right side. Did my contacts opt in and can they opt out? Did I include disclaimers about my program, my data rates, my privacy policy? Do I have a message confirming opt-in and subscriptions? And am I texting at a bad time? So again, looking at what time you would like to get a message isn't enough. You want to think about the average person, what they might be doing at different times of the day, and they're looking for more urgent messages at dinner time, or was they're dealing with their families or kids or whatever, unless you're, let's say, a nighttime activity that they like to go to, in which case, sure, that'd be a good time, but not in the middle of the night and not at a time where someone's more likely to go opt out or stop because it really is irritating when you're busy. So California also has a Consumer Privacy Act, and you need to make sure that you are keeping in sync with that Privacy Act when you have your text marketing campaigns going out. It starts with making sure that you've registered for SMS and you have created a terms and conditions and a privacy policy, and you want to fill that information in. So when you go to sign up for these organizations to get a text messaging subscription, you have to get this done. You also have to show on your website where you have your terms and conditions and your privacy policy so that they know that you're giving all that information out on the web. And that's why we have to go through the cookies and determine what we're going to do. The content and the template, you want to make sure that you've got a template. If not, usually the subscriber service will send you an example template through their legal information, and just making sure that you don't collect information from people that they have not approved. That's really the key there. The terms and conditions also, in terms of what you're going to do with your SMS text marketing, needs to be also one of your policies that are mentioned within that so that you can set up these accounts to get started. So message frequency, possible fees, how to opt in and out, that kind of information. Obviously, with the subscription services, some of this is automatically on there. Your website has to have some type of a cookie control. So you want to think about that and what you're going to set up within that format so that, that can be approved. And these subscriber services will help you. They actually have a little get started. Here's how you do it. And they really do want to get you up and running, so they will. In addition to all these things in terms of your text messaging, again, recognize that I'm saying it's best used with media mixing. So looking at what role each platform does for you is important as you orchestrate your campaigns. You want to think about, what role each of these do. So social media is more of the general group and getting them information, and that's a wider group of people, and so you can be more general. And email is more detail information, so it's got a lot more space for you to get messages to people. So short and sweet on social, because people will be looking through their social media platforms and they don't definitely respond to big, long messages. Email can be a little more deep dive. And then SMS texting is the VIP party. So if those people that are interested, getting them information they're actually interested in or curious about, whether that's through your chatbot list or through your emails and clicks, things that they clicked on or actions they took, these different tools can talk to each other in terms of that so that you can set those up to do a good job. You want to harness the strengths of each channel. So with social, you're going to share beyond the email and SMS texting. You want to reach out to new bodies, basically friends of your fans or friends of your customers and family. You want to look for that engagement, giving them an opportunity to share information about you or your organization or some of what you're talking about. And you want to utilize them to reach a new audience when you buy ads on there. And so you're buying a custom audience or a lookalike audience to get new exposure to those individuals and then invite them to sign up for your email or your texting list or both. With email, you're reaching the audience directly because you are the first party information. You don't own Facebook or Instagram, but you definitely own your own lists when it comes to who's agreed to get your emails. So you're reaching your audience directly and you have a robust message area. So lots of information you can say. You have more detail that you can go into or provide a lot of links to your website to get any clarity about your products or services. And with text messaging, it's a short message. It should be somewhat time sensitive. Hey, only 3 days, that type of information. You should use it for timely, unique promotions. That doesn't mean it has to be like you have an event coming up. It could be just you talking about, the time of the year that's best to buy something or to visit an area and what's unique about that that's important to keep in a timely manner. Using social for awareness and engagement is part of your campaigns you're going to want to integrate. Using word of mouth, it's happening online, right? So when we're trying to get more people engaged with our companies by tying in with what you're doing on social media and bringing social media people into your lists that are first party lists like email and SMS, you do the best of both worlds. And then, of course, posting multiple times, that's not a problem. You can post as much as you can. You can't send emails every day. That would be annoying. Or even text messaging. You can't do that every day. So marrying these guys together really gives you the best exposure over time. You want to match your approach to the right social channels. So depending on what type of information you're sending out, recognizing that you can connect with these different social media platforms and get your information through it. And video as well is going to be a nice addition to that. And you want to repurpose your content to save you time. So that information that you put together in past emails may be the initial information that you're going to utilize for text messaging and also for some of your digital ads. So looking and seeing what's worked for you before, either in your digital ads to figure out what to email or your emails where people have clicked on a lot of things that they're interested in, then use that as a digital campaign and also a sign up for texting or email marketing. You can package your blog content. I think that's a wonderful thing to do because it helps you with your search engine optimization, also helps you with the AI to get attention on things that you're an expert in. You also want to share user-generated content when possible because that's an endorsement. Also reviews, if that's something that you've got. So you have the ability, again, to media mix with these different tools. You want to focus on your time and effort to meet the goals that you have as a small business owner. You're trying to drive awareness. You're trying to provide good customer service. So after the fact sales, when you post or you send out information that says, thanks for buying today, don't forget that we have a 30-day return policy or something that's relevant to that, where someone would say, oh, good, I'm glad they told me that. I didn't know. So that information is the kind they're looking for. Again, we're focusing on engagement this year. So getting them to take any kind of action, whether that's signing up for something or getting to a page on your website that's got a new product or service, or integrating with some type of a nonprofit event that you're having or a webinar of some sort. Getting them to take action keeps them engaged with you. And the more you're engaged with your customers, the more they're going to recall you and keep calling you and recommending you. So you want to use email to build those relationships at the same time. Again, you want that permission based. You want to have the opt-out language. Don't ever buy lists because that turns you into a spammer, and that doesn't overcome that hurdle of trust. If you want them to join your list, there's different ways to do that at the office, on the phone, at events. Again, the same kind of stuff that we did with the SMS text messaging works as well. When you're thinking about why people would join your list, it's often good to give them a benefit, whether that's a promotion and discount, when they get these, they automatically get the monthly discounts or promotions, exclusive content that gives them insider information, or just showing the support for your organization, or supporting their purchase. So talking about after they purchase, ways to maintain your bicycle or your purchase price or whatever you've done. So thinking about that. And then when you have these signups, you can ask them if they'd like to sign up for just your email, or in this case, for a text message. So utilizing the same kind of landing page that make it sign up really easy for them to get engaged with what you're doing. As you're thinking about what you're trying to get them to engage with, think about loyalty or referral programs that you might have a link to, or maybe that is your sign up for your SMS. Maybe it's a giveaway where they can enter in some type of contest, or they can download an ebook, some type of a guide, checklist, or workbook, maybe a webinar class that you've designed for certain people that are ready to go to the next level of what you're trying to do. Any kind of case study, if that's interesting to them. Sometimes with people that are doing home improvements, maybe before and after or how to. Those are the types of things you want to think about. And then you want to entice people to join those lists and use them as a lead magnet, the headlines in terms of what you're trying to accomplish. You want to keep the form, any kind of form that you're asking them to fill out, simple. All you really need is their permission, their first name. You don't necessarily need their last name, their email, or just their email, or just their text messages if they want to do this. So this form that you're seeing allows people to sign up for either or both. And that's kind of the most effective way of being efficient and finding out which way people want to hear from you, because they might select one and not the other. You want to have your emails that go out be two types. One is promotional and one is non-promotional, because if you're going to have a relationship with someone, you want to give them information that helps them. So think from your organization standpoint of how can I have a conversation with my customers or past customers monthly in an area that they're interested in. So if you're, let's say you're a car company, once I buy a car, I'm not going to buy another car within a year or 6 months, unless it's lease maybe, right? So but I am going to need to maintain the car. I might want to buy accessories for a car. You might want to talk about the kinds of things that those individuals would have and make sure that the right message is going out to the right individual there. So 4 tips to make your flowers last longer, not just buy some flowers from us. So that kind of helpful information establishes a relationship where I'm willing to give you something for free. You don't have to always be buying from me. I actually want to connect. And you want to think about what you're doing in terms of what you're offering. And it really is just a picture, a headline, a picture, a paragraph, and a call to action. And that's where the engagement happens. So the call to action should be really simple for them to click on. Maybe you give them a few products where they can click on a category and get to the right page on your website. And then that can be connected with links, click segmentation as well, so that automatically your autoresponders would send out information to those individuals in that category, depending on the product they selected or clicked on. You also want to think from a nonprofit, what are you trying to accomplish? Is this a fundraiser? Are you trying to get volunteers? Are you trying to let the community know that you offer a service? And why should the reader care about that in terms of what the body is? You're selling that idea. And the call to action, how can the reader get involved? What are their choices? Hey, you can volunteer, you can give us a donation, you can come to our next event, you could go to our training, bring your friends, that type of thing. Over time, you want to get better results by segmenting your email list as well as your SMS text list. So by demographics, you might look at age, income, and marital status. You might want to look at geographic location. Are they in an area that you already sell to, or a new area? And also behaviors and actions. Did they open something like your email? Did they purchase something? Did they click on something within your email that puts them on a separate list because of their interest? Did they purchase or make a donation? Those should all be integrated in your contact management system within these systems that you're using your subscriber base for. So how often should you send your text messages or your emails? It all depends on what your customers think you're going to do. If you made a promise it's once a month, it's once a month. If you want to ask them if they want to get more frequent emails, then send out an email that asks them that and let them know why they'd want to do that. Consider your audience, consider your expectations or their expectations. You want to send at least once a month because again, it's got to be freaking enough that you stay top of mind. For promotional emails, you might want to do an announcement, a reminder, a last chance reminder. So you can send a little more frequently if you have an event coming up and you're trying to remind them about that. And you want to automate so that people are automatically getting follow-up from you based on their interests. And that's all tied into those systems. You want to use social media for those awareness campaigns and engagement, and email deepening the relationship. Using text messaging to offer those unique messages and making sure that those messages are something they want. Before you get started on any of these, you want to think about your marketing goal. What is it you're trying to accomplish? Reach new customers, drive repeat business, motivate donors or advocates, increase your membership, because your content is going to change based on that. Then think about the content you've already got so you don't have to take a lot of time or develop new content with the idea that you're going to utilize this with all of these campaigns. And you want to think about what is it that would benefit those individuals. Some ideas would be like recording a video series on a smartphone, telling your story in installments, how we got started, why our product is different. Differentiating your product and service is key these days in terms of competition. Maybe you have a muffin shop or something and you want to provide some special recipes that people might try. Maybe it's highlighting products or services or your employees with images and stories about why you want to continue to support our organization based on the people that we have here. Maybe sharing a collage of photos of transitions that have happened or growth that you've had in terms of your company, or just before and afters of how your products and services benefit your customers. A link to an informative blog post. Again, those blog posts are picked up if they have or in a strategic way of answering a question. So rewriting your blogs right now and thinking about, am I answering a question that might be queried by AI is one way to change some of the frequency of visitors from a search. You want to access, maybe they could access an ebook, a webinar, or a podcast. Maybe you're putting together a series of something that they can sign up to get. You want to think about a handout or a cheat sheet, some how-to guide that would give them information about how to do something themselves, or they can hire you to do it for them. And once they look at all the steps, they might decide to do that. Coupons and promo codes, these are things that consumers are pretty familiar with and are looking for. So it's important that they know that it's going to be something unique and not just something that you send out to everyone. So thinking about that, maybe even gifts with larger purchases or something like that. This is all content that might be beneficial to you. You want to divide your email and SMS lists into information for these different individuals. So maybe they're regular customers or donors, seasonal customers, or what we call your VIPs, as well as new people that have just come from a digital ad or something where you need to educate them on what you're doing. With drip marketing campaigns, these can be set up in advance so that they're automatically done. When somebody signs up to get something and they subscribe, then an autoresponder goes out to give them information about, oh, here's the video you wanted. Here's information about what here's the coupon we promised to send you. The subscriber then takes an action by redeeming that coupon and brings them back to your bricks and mortar store or your store online or your nonprofit. Data is everywhere, so utilize that data and integrate it in your contact management system for these systems. So make sure that you're tying in your event marketing with these systems as well. So integrating is a key. And then utilizing segmentation. So when people click on specific buttons or something in your email, that adds them to a list of that interest, whether it's Bikram, Vinyasa, or Hatha Yoga. You now know their interests and you can send them information specifically what they're interested in, and it's automated, so you don't have to do it. Basically, you just click on enable click segmentation and they will be added to a list of your preference. And then that list would then get some type of drip campaign that gives them information and they're added in the behind the scenes to your list and identified that they're on that particular list so that you can utilize that. That way, people that have dogs would get dog information, people that have birds would get bird information, and people that have cats would get cat information. And they're more likely to respond because it shows that you know what they're doing or what animals they love. So thank yous, campaigns, educational information that gives them more ways to use the product or service they bought from you. And don't forget to ask for feedback. So have campaigns that ask for feedback and also point them to the referral sites you'd like them to get reviews on. Ask for reviews, folks, because when you have a lot of reviews, it really shows that you're a reliable company that I can trust. And that hurdle of trust is everything. This month we have a lot of holidays, and if you get my newsletter, then you know that I send out this information for people so that they know how to tag and get into different event days. We've got Memorial Day coming up, we've got Mother's Day this weekend, we've got events that are coming up. Tie in with your text messaging as well as your email marketing and your digital campaigns to what people are really got on their minds. And right now, they've got on their minds their mom. They're looking forward to doing something special for her. And if you're part of that, great. And even if you're not part of that, talk about it on social media and let people know you respect moms. There's also themes that are going on during this month, and you can see those here. So maybe if you're a bike shop, you want to know that it's National Bike Month. It's also Teachers Month. It's also, so there's different events that are happening that you might want to tie in with your next promotions. Seize the moment. April, May, and June is our quarter, and you want to maximize your quarter. So get into that. We're right in the middle right now. So you have an opportunity to really grow. Think about taking an action if you have a email subscription company that does SMS texting events and that sort of thing. If you're interested in utilizing Constant Contact, it's 30% off for 3 months. Call your score and make arrangements to have a mentor today because they really do a great job of helping you through figuring out how your business is going to grow in addition to what your marketing is going to do. So you can do marketing, but when it comes to business growth, you also want to talk to a score mentor who's been there, done that, and can teach you a lot. Our company is Tailor Made Advertising, and we definitely offer an opportunity for you if you're interested in having a consultation with me. We do a marketing checklist, so we look at what you're doing and give you some ideas about how to improve that. So you can reach out to us as well. Um, Try to get some of this done through the tools that you're using. And you can always add a subscription-based service if you're not getting that done. I'm just going to check real quick. We're just about out of time. I got 1 minute. So if you have questions, please forward them to Score or myself, and we'll be happy to answer those questions for you. I've definitely enjoyed being able to present to you today, and I hope that you have a wonderful week and a great quarter. Thank you again for attending our webinar.